All right, so as you all know, Tito Jackson has passed away, and it was crazy because I was going to make this Jackson 5 video. I planned on making it last week when I decided to go down the Jackson 5 rabbit hole. So here's the thing. I was thinking about this song right here, the 2300 Jackson Street. If you haven't heard it, it's on their final album as the Jacksons. And I was like, you know what? I really haven't listened to Jackson music like that, or the Jacksons like that. So I'm like, yo, how many albums do they have and what else been going on? And just for a quick reference, if you haven't heard 2300 Jackson Street, go a little something like this. 2300 Jackson Street, always home. So, on my quest, I found out that the Jackson 5 released their first album in 1969 and their last album under the Jackson 5 moniker in 1975. So 14 years they've been rocking with that name and doing their thing. And then that's when they switched over to being the Jacksons in 1976 is when they switched over and started being known as the Jacksons. And just for a quick second, can we appreciate this album cover? Can we appreciate the pure, just out there wildness that was the 80s of this album cover? Anyway, so when they were the Jackson 5, they released 12 albums. Under the Jacksons, they released 6. I'm not including live albums in this because there's actually more if you include live albums. So I'm like, okay, so how are they doing individually? We already know how Michael did individually, so we're not even going to cover it. That just goes without saying. So I was like, well, let me start from the top, the oldest, Jackie Jackson. So I was just like, okay, what has he done? You know, he dropped his two, Be the One, Jackie Jackson. Then I was like, well, what about Jermaine? I was like, oh, Jermaine done put in some work. Jermaine was out here. He was out here doing it. He said, don't take it personal. And look at him, he even tried to get the J. He said, my name's Jermaine Jackson, this is what I go by. Y'all gonna know me. I was like, all right, Jermaine, you doing your thing. And so then I also looked up Marlon and see if he did anything. And Marlon dropped a solo. I didn't even know Marlon had a solo. He like, nah, I got one out here too. And then Tito dropped his first solo album in 2017 called Tito Time. I don't know why I just love the name. It just sounds good when you say it. It's Tito Time. Tito Time. I don't know, it just sounds like that could have been a catchphrase. Like, in them old sitcoms, he bust through the door. Hey, y'all know what it is? Ha! Tito Time. I don't know, that's just where my mind goes with it. Even Randy got in on the action. Randy and the Gypsies. Now, they only made the one album, and no, it did not come out in 2008. That's probably just when they posted it up here. But yeah, even Randy Jackson went out there and had him some. So I was like, well, then collectively, how many albums does this collective have? So just studio albums. I'm not including compilations. I'm not including live albums, and I'm not including anyone who wasn't actually in the Jackson 5. So I'm not including the LaToyas, the Reeves, the Janets, T3, and all the sons and everyone else, TJ Jackson and a lot of them other ones, the kids and the nephews, nieces, and all that release music. This is just out of the Jackson 5 and who was in that group. They have a total of 41 albums all together collectively. And then with Michael, I said 11, but I just did it in the albums before he passed away. So I didn't include the two after he passed away, Escape and the other one. I think that it is just called Michael. But I'm just like, man, because, they came out before my time. It's just really crazy to go back and look at their catalog and just see how much work they was really putting in. I mean, they released an album almost every single year that they were, doing a thing. I'm guessing release an album tour. And it's just wild to go back and look at it. So, man, them Jackson boys, Joe really had them boys, and they was really putting in work. And if you have not heard this song, I think it's a dope song. I think it's a catchy tune. You might catch yourself just singing in 2300 Jackson Street, because I know they be catching me with it. But yeah, man, R.I.P. Tito, R.I.P. Catherine, R.I.P. Michael and Joe, everybody that done passed away from the Jackson side. Yeah, and this, like I said, this is just where my mind be going. I get hooked on something, and then I like just get fixated on it, and then next thing you know, I'm going down the rabbit hole, just looking up random information to see what was going on. And yo, that Tito joint, hold on. Look, I ain't listened to the whole album, but I can't speak on it. But this joint right here, that cruising, I was like, all right, Tito. All right, I see you, Tito. I see you. I rock with that joint. But yeah, man, that's just I be going down them rabbit holes, man. Crazy.